All right, the fish have finally arrived after being delayed. All right, there we go. All right. So if we take a look, yeah, they're just loving life. Look at that.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Zenzo with Aquarium Co-op. Now, if you're familiar with this fish room, you know that I have lots of aquariums down here, and I do happen to love African cichlids. In fact, we've got that African cichlid logo that Cory was kind enough to make for me a few years ago. But in this room, we have one of my favorite fish, which are called Pseudotropheus saulosi or Chindongo saulosi. Depends on where you sit as far as the proper naming. But anyway, they're a dwarf mbuna, African cichlid from Lake Malawi, and they are beautiful. They don't get very big. They're not hyper aggressive like a lot of other African cichlids can be. The fact that they're a dwarf mbuna, they don't get much larger than about 3.5 inches or so. They stay a little bit smaller, so easier to keep if you have smaller aquariums, let's say like 40 to 55 gallons or larger. And I love them. The other thing that's great about these fish is they have a very distinct dimorphism where the males and females look very different. If you look in the aquarium, you'll see that the males are the ones with the light blue and the dark blue banded stripes, and the females are yellow. So it's very easy to see which ones are males, which ones are females, and it's almost like you get two fish in one. So Cory also happens to love these fish. I think he's kept them in the past. He's seen this aquarium before, and he said to me, hey, when you hatch some more, can I have some? So I happen to have an aquarium full of babies that are ready to go. So we're going to ship them to Cory and let him kind of grow them out and put them in one of his display tanks and enjoy them and share them with all of you when they get bigger. So down here in this 20-gallon aquarium, we have a bunch of fry. So what I did is, what I like to do is when a female mbuna is holding, what that means is they will lay their eggs basically like on a little cleared area that a male will clean out with their tail. You might have seen them do a little dance thing on the substrate before. The female will drop her eggs, the male will come by, drop his smelt, fertilizing the eggs. The female will then pick up the eggs and hold them in her mouth, which is called holding. And they do this because it's the best way to protect those eggs and hatched fry from predators. It gives them the best chance of growing out to baby fish size. And then eventually, once they're large enough to swim on their own, the mother will open her mouth, the fish will swim out, and they will be on their own. Sometimes they'll kind of hang around for another week or two, and the fish will swim back up into her mouth if there's a predator nearby. But basically, she holds them in her mouth. So what I do is I'll take a female that's holding eggs, I'll put her in an aquarium, let her spit naturally, and then once those fish are free swimming, I'll take the female, put her back in the aquarium, and let the babies grow out. So that's what I did in this aquarium. So I'm going to catch them, and we're going to ship them up to Cory. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a catch cup here, one of our Aquarium Co-op catch containers, and fill it with some tank water, hang it on the side of the aquarium. Now, one thing that makes it easier when catching fish is to lower the water level, but this tank is pretty empty, so I'm going to try to do it without doing that. But what I am going to do is remove anything in there to give me a better chance of catching them pretty easily. So I'm going to remove this little cave thing in there, and I'm going to pull the filter out, and then we're going to catch the fish. Now, my favorite fish catching method is to use two nets. One net will be kind of the trap, and the other net is going to be the thing that scares the fish into the trap. So I'm going to take one large net and get the bubbles out of it so it kind of stays open like this and wedge it against the glass. Then I'm going to take this other net, start scaring the fish over to the first net. And what will happen is just like that, a bunch of fish swim into the net. You can scare them with your hand, and then you can take them right out. So here, I've got a whole bunch of them right here in this net. I'm going to carefully put them in this specimen container, this catch cup. Double check the net to make sure none stayed there. And then we can see, just in that one scoop, there's probably like a dozen or more in the container, just like that. Now, when it comes to shipping fish, you can use the plastic bags, which a lot of people use to ship fish, or to obviously bag fish when you buy them at a store and take them home. In my experience, sometimes it can be a little bit hit and miss. I like using a plastic container. These are actually some Gatorade bottles that have, you know, kind of a wide enough opening to be able to pour small fish into. And they're super, super strong, right? They're durable because they're designed to like be kicked around a soccer field or thrown in a bag and not spill. So they're super durable. You could squeeze the heck out of it. You could stand on it. If I step on it and put some weight on it, I don't want to pop it obviously, but I can like put, you know, some pressure on it and nothing happens to it. So I also have some polyfill in here. Now I'm not going to have this much tank water in there. I'm going to do less tank water, but I just wanted to show you how strong and durable and leak proof these are. So you don't have to worry about like a bag leaking or anything like that. As long as you have the cap that has the original inside seal and you put it on securely, it's super rigid and strong and waterproof. So I'm gonna use these to put the fish in. So I've got about half a bottle or so of tank water in here. I do have a piece of polyfilter in each one. Now polyfilter, it's not polyfill like just 100% polyester. There's actually like a chemical compound in there that is designed to absorb anything in the water. So if there's excess ammonia or nitrate or phosphate or whatever, it absorbs that. So it's kind of good for shipping, but you know, tiny fish like this overnight, not necessary, but I figured what the heck, I had some already, so I just cut a little square and put it in the bottle. And then I'm going to drain a little bit more water in here. Now I could do a net and net the fish and put it in here, but I think it's just going to be easier just to use the corner of the specimen container, the catch cup here, and just pour them in. All right, so we have a bunch of them in here. I'm going to evenly distribute them between these 4 bottles. I'm going to have to empty some water out. All right, so we've got them all packaged up, bottled up. There are 26 total. There's 7 and 7 and 6 and 6. So what is that, 14, 20, 26, right? 26 total. So that should be a very large colony to get Cory started in a large aquarium. My original colony, I think I started with like 6 or 8 of them. And then obviously I got lots and lots of fish. So we're gonna go ahead and put these in a box. And we're also going to put them in liners. Now, you could use a heat pack. Now, this is our 72-hour heat pack that we sell. If I were shipping these in a different time of the year, I would use a heat pack. But the fact that it's currently July, it's very warm in California, it's very warm in Washington, they're going overnight, they're going to be double insulated, and they're African cichlids, so they're very hardy. I'm not going to use a heat pack, but if I were shipping them in the winter, the spring, or the fall, and if temperatures were going to fall into the 50s or whatever, I would use heat packs. But because it's like 80s and 90s, no heat pack needed. So we're going to go ahead and get these boxed up. Now, as far as the box, I happen to already have a box that was used to ship live fish, so it's labeled nicely. If you don't have one of these, you can just get a cardboard box and either write on there with like a giant Sharpie marker, or put a piece of paper on there and tape it on there with some packing tape to make sure people know what side is up, which is very important with live fish, and that let people know there's live animals inside. And this one also has an insulated styrofoam box on the inside. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these bottles inside of our plant liner insulator. Now, this is something that you get from us every time you order live aquarium plants. If the temperature is cold, you get one of these plus a heat pack. If the temperature is warm, you'll get one of these with no heat pack. So either way, it helps to keep your plants from major temperature fluctuations when they're in transit. And that's what we want to do with these fish as well. So currently they're in bottled water that's about 78 degrees here in this room, in this fish room. This whole room is heated. And I'm going to put these directly into this, and then these go into the insulated box. So I've got 2 of these, which we're gonna put these 4 bottles in and get them boxed up. Now when I pack them, I like to put them horizontal. So that's gonna give a little more space for the fish. And I also like to have plenty of air in there so that there's oxygen. So obviously there's dissolved oxygen in the water, but there's also obviously oxygen in the ambient air up top. And so a little bit of gas exchange will happen. So plenty of air in there. People have asked me, like, are you worried about fish getting banged around? But I've never had any problem, especially with a hardier fish like these. And yeah, so that's what we're gonna do, is we're gonna package them up and get them going.
All right, the fish have finally arrived after being delayed for a day. That's what I don't love about USPS overnighting, and why I almost never ship fish overnight. It was extra hot though, and so we thought, let's give them a chance, but it took 2 days instead of 1 day. They were shipped out on Monday, and here we are on a Wednesday. And I'm cutting them open with one hand, so that's always fun. But we'll see how they did. And the reason I wanted these fish is I've tried them probably 5 times in the last 20 years. And I always get about a year and a half into them, and then I go, you know what, I want to do something else, because they don't color up the way I want them to, and that is all the males being blue and black and the females being yellow. I get a lot of yellow and not a lot of blue and black because it takes a long time to sex out all those males, and I usually only start with, like, I buy 6 or 8, and then I'm like, I'll breed them, and I do breed them, but that only makes it take longer, right? Because from day one, it takes like a year to get them really colored up. And so if you start with babies, you know, like this group here, and then to breed them and breed them and breed them, now I'm looking at years. So this is a much more long-term project. We can see here, packed with some packing paper to keep it from moving. And hey, we reused a styrofoam box and these liners. So even though it's like 90 degrees here yesterday and today, and it sat in a post office warehouse, hopefully it'll be sitting just fine, which I would imagine is going to be the case. Open up here. Come on, this is ridiculous. 2 hands makes this real easy. All right, there we go. All right. So if we take a look, yeah, all swimming around. Not sure how many he put in per, maybe 6 per. You guys probably know that because you would have watched his video first, which I haven't watched. So they do feel warm. They feel like, let's see if we can find, yeah, there's my thermometer right there. So we'll test and see how warm they are. Now, I love, and maybe Zenzo covered this, but I love shipping with these kinds of bottles because you can stomp on them, and they're just made to not break or open, apparently. Hold on. Oh, they got the Zenzo strength on them. All right, so now, and there was no water, by the way. It didn't leak at all. So here we are. It's probably 75 in this room or whatever. Oh, come on. One-handed. Get the probe in the water. Yeah, so you can see this water is about 84 degrees. And so even with the styrofoam having the liners, probably, my guess, really in testing, this only changed it by a degree or 2, but that's a lot. And if it was only these and not this, it would probably be like 5 degrees. But yeah, we'll open up the other ones, take a look at them, and then we'll get them in the water. So yeah, saving these things, you might not be using them right now. You might move at some point. You might, you know, buy ice cream at the store and need to bring them home, or maybe buying fish at the local store and you gotta bring them home in the middle of winter or whatever. Yeah, they're just loving life, look at that. And again, I love these bottles because there's no leak. There's no like water. Where bags, they get dropped too hard or something happens. There's a little bit of condensation, little bit. But yeah, I'm guessing this is polyfiber or something he brought. I'm actually gonna put these right into this tank here because I want them, I'm hoping, we'll see. African cichlids, they like a little bit of veggie. We'll see if they work on this hair algae for me. You see the little bit of hair algae? If not, that's fine too. And I've got the one platy in there that's gonna chill. So one thing you can do is you can float. So let's get these guys floating here. I'll grab the other ones. And that'll bring the temperature down a little bit. Now I'm not gonna float them for very long, but you could let them sit there and float the entire time until they match temperature. One thing people will ask a lot, like, wow, how much of a temperature change can they endure? Well, in Peru, which is not Africa where these are from, these are Pseudotrophia saulosi, by the way. In Peru, you can go to water that's like this deep and it's super hot. And there's tons of fish, corridors and all that kind of stuff. And then you step foot in the water and they dart 20 feet away from you and down low. And that water will be pretty cool, like 70 degrees. So they can go from like 90 to 70 like it's nothing. And so I've never really worried about shocking and having water temperatures, and I've never really had a problem with it. So that's why these ones, I'm not even going to. I'm gonna try, like I'm just gonna pour them out essentially. And there we go. Make sure we got them all. And I'll take this poly filter out. You can hear that's my overflow. See if I can get a camera set up right here while I do this. Yeah, maybe that'll fall, maybe it won't. You can see my other guppies there. I'm gonna do these ones next. Got them all, perfect. And this polyfiber, that's what it feels like. It'll turn different colors on what it absorbs. So it can absorb ammonia, it can absorb nitrate, it can absorb all kinds of stuff. Ooh, getting these wet was not my best idea, because now they're harder to open. Perfect. One more to go. So all these will grow up, and what I'll tell you what my plans are. Oh, come on. Long term, my plans are to get a big group of these, and I think they're actually going to go in the 150 gallon that I have behind my desk. Grab that out again. Move the light up front so we get a good look at them. All right. So you can see here, they're mostly just going to hang out down low and be scaredy cats for quite a while. See, I've got a few shrimp in there. Those are going to become snacks, unfortunately. But when you breed a lot of shrimp, you can see I've got one there and I've got one there, and I've got one on the sponge. When you're breeding a lot, some of them can just be fish food. And there's one back there. So, and they might not too. That's been some of the funnest tanks I have where they don't eat on them. Yeah, and so they could, wow, there's way more than I thought in here. Unintentionally bred, they just came in with the plant. But yeah, so I'll start feeding them, they'll start raising up, and you know, at some point I'll take out that platy, probably be a month or two at least, till they're about this big. And then they might get territorial. When they're young like this, typically not very territorial. They're just looking for food, and that's all they're trying to do. I'll probably feed them in an hour or two, see if they want a little bit of food. Yeah, you can see here I've got to move this guy. I don't want that guy to get killed. That snail is, that's one of my blueberry snails. I'll move that back to the other tank, because that guy I don't want someone to eat him. He's hard to get, and I want to breed them, and so they're going back over here. Go live in the tank where you came from with some other babies. So there's just baby mollies and stuff in here, and when I took that big plant out, I hitched a ride. But lots of shrimp living in here, and they're breeding and everything. So the colony will keep going, which is good. And yeah, so where are those fish eventually going after they grow out? Because they're not going to live in that 40 breeder the whole time. They're just going to grow out there. They're probably there for 6 months, maybe less. Depends on how much I can grow them. And then I always have a bad habit of leaving stuff not closed. And the light, okay, so that way I'll be able to see them from my desk. So then, when the clown loaches and everything like that get upgraded to the 800 gallon, we'll keep them in this tank back here. And again, I'm hoping they'll snack on the algae. And in this plant, you can see when I moved it, it has shrimp in it. And the clown loaches haven't eaten it yet, so I find that to be pretty special and cool. Neither has the eel. So, yeah. So shipping fish, kind of expensive, not hard if you save materials and everything. And yeah, you can get them from friends sometimes, which is always cool. Not everyone knows someone's got it, but he's had these going for years and years and years, and he said, oh, I don't even pull the fry anymore. So I said, well, actually, I want those. And so, you know, getting babies real small and just paying the shipping, kind of a bargain where if you get them at this size in a store, they're gonna be anywhere from 10 to 15 bucks a piece. And then you only buy 6 of them, and then it takes forever, where now I probably have 20 or something in here, and that'll be nice to feed. You can always see them kind of squaring off going, hey, you're like a bigger one of us. So these will be fun. You guys will know the origin story that watch this video. This won't be the most epic video out there, but I enjoy it and it's fun. And I've made a commitment to showing you guys what I have fun with, what I'm testing. You can see here I tested some algae cleaner, and that definitely will kill snails, by the way. I was testing it on shrimp and snails, and it says not to, by the way. For full disclosure, they say don't put this with shrimp and snails, and by golly, they mean it. Killed them. So, but I had tested that in here to see if it would kill the weird algae that I had before I bleached it. Now it's been bleached. Now I got the adult mollies in here with some of their fry, and I've just been planting it up, and kind of, this got planted a few days ago, so not a lot of growth or anything yet. Running fairly low light, should probably clean the top, but you know, just got a normal sword kicking it back there, and got a lotus here. Actually, it was 2 lotuses. So actually it's been growing pretty good actually, because it came and it was pretty small, and even just in a few days, it actually made quite a few leaves, so that's good to see. And then I just put some Java ferns in the cracks that will start growing, and hopefully kind of make this just one Java fern hill, and kind of same right in the back there, and then get one big bushy green plant in the back, this nice lotus here and here, and I think that'd be fun. Why not? So, did I do anything else yet? Not really. I only threw like one plant in here. I put a red flame sword back there, and I put a dwarf aquarium lily back there, and I put these rocks in, but these rocks, because they've been bleached, they don't have the patina that like the algae and stuff is on. So long term, they will look like they're meant to go together. And yeah, put in root tabs and stuff. I'm actually testing root tabs, by the way. They won't be like this. Like they will be like this, but not the shape or size. This is actually samples from about 4 months ago. I've just been using them. And so making sure the blend works really well. So the blend itself will be the same, but the shape and size and all of that will not be the same, it'll be different. And I've just been using them in different spots, and you know, it's part of what helped grow these monster crypts, which I just love this tank. And yeah, so, all right, well, that's Pseudotrophia saulosi being shipped to me, enjoying it. Not the perfect time. I actually go on vacation here in how many days? 5 days. So another tank I'm going to have Steenfod Aquatics feed while I'm gone, because I've got babies and stuff, so that'll help. I'll get all this cleaned up before I go. That would be a big tip, by the way. When you leave for a vacation or something like that, leave your tanks and room in good shape. Get all of the extras. Don't leave stuff out for them to go, oh, I could treat some algae, or oh, maybe it's this food, or that food, or the other food. Label the tanks, get rid of tripping hazards, all that kind of stuff. And just so it's a nice clean, like it'll only take like an hour to really clean this place up, but leave it in a good situation so that it's as easy as possible for the people taking care of your fish not to go, oops, I used the wrong food, or hey, you know that tank that's got the thing in front of it, you're going, huh? Yeah, you left freeze-dried tubifex worms in front of them? Like, what? Huh? And you won't remember what tank that is. And that just causes more confusion. So I'll feed these guys on camera. why not? So the freeze-dried Tube Effects cubes, you just take it and you push out like all the air. So you push, 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 no more air. And then you'll get the fish going nuts for it here in a moment. Let me get another one out. My hands are wet and I've only got one hand. So I grab this one. We'll do the same thing over here. Push, 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 get all the air out. You smush them basically flat against the glass. And then, well, if I get the light back here, you'll see. Yeah, there you go, Tube Effects worms. Gives you a great look at your fish. That's what I love about them the most. It's not really focusing, that's a bummer. Focus. Yeah, it gives you, you can, grab a chair and really see, especially if you got some that are reclusive, who's eating, what are they getting to eat. Now these are great for this, but not so much great for all the other stuff. I'll be feeding different food for there. You can also just feed them floating, by the way. You can just chuck it in. And they will also go nuts for it at the top, but you don't get that same look like you do right up here. So you don't have to get your hands wet. Doesn't have to be anything like that. We'll go put this with these guys down here. Here you guys go. Boop. Yeah, so freeze-dried Tube Effects, you haven't tried them yet. I recommend it. Give it a try. I like the brine shrimp too, but need bigger fish for that. You're gonna pop soon. You are. A full molly full of babies. Love it. Love these little guys. As much of an abomination that people say they are, I can't stop loving these little guys. I'm probably gonna get some more fireball platies too. I love live bears in this little dwarf round form. I don't know why. I think it's because they don't take up space like a big, big molly like these ones down here. Still going at it. See, these guys, a lot of times you'll have one that'll hit it and they'll knock some off and the rest will eat it. They're still timid. I don't have critical mass there. What I mean by that is there's like 7 to 8 fish. If you had 70 fish, they would just attack it. So sometimes you get fish feeding differently just because of the way they are in groups. But you start getting mollies like this that are like, I don't know, 3/4 grown, but they get beefy and big. That's a fairly big fish. And yeah, so again, the magic, maybe I'll call this the magic krill pellet, magic nano pellet. Who knows, but yeah, this stuff I love. Just kind of sits in there in that mid-water. Stuff that, like, there's those baby bettas that they're oops spawn, they're growing up. And they're looking through their glass going, hey, I'd eat that. But I honestly do love that it coats everything. And what I mean by that is it'll go all around the floor, right? So in these tanks where I have lots of, okay, I gotta feed you guys, like 3 of you in your bag, and this is how I need to break this tank down, but I'm like, well, someone's gotta raise the babies. And then pretty soon I'll let them be here too long and they'll make babies. I'm like, well, someone's gotta raise the babies. This is how I accidentally never break a tank down, because I'm the fool that sets up more tanks and, well, I gotta raise them up, that's my job. Anyway, so if I go to, I know there's fish in here, let me feed real quick while I'm walking by. And here. So a tank like this, it's got just tons and tons and tons of shrimp. And I'm talking like a lot. And this is where I like to get this like coating where 4 billion little pieces will be on every rock. And it looks visually like it's an insane amount, but that was seriously like just a tiny amount because the pellets are so small. But as this kind of just covers everything, the shrimp and all the little fry that you would have, and there's scuds and stuff in here too. You can see all the little scuds usually swimming around, but so you can see it's already made it over to here, right? All the food. And it will just keep floating in the water, but it will make it down to like that guy. And these snails and all that, where the average big food, right? The average big food, if you will, stays floating or there, and there's like a chunk here and a chunk there and a chunk there, but we don't think enough about like, well, there's 50 shrimp on the back of that rock and this and that. And so this is one of the foods that truly, it'll go over the entire, you can see all the shrimp here. They're like, hey, let me get on the leaves. I can eat this. Yeah, you can see this fish or this shrimp right here. Can I zoom in? Well, let me do that. Yeah, like that guy literally has been grabbing some and eating it. So, yeah, it's just the food that I enjoy. Where if you don't have the flow, like I barely have the flow going on this one, you can see how the hang time is like infinite. It just hangs. So that's a sign that I need to clean that sponge filter, which I just do with a little toothbrush or something right in the collar there, and that fixes it right up. So, all right, yeah, these guys, well, I might as well finish feeding and then I'll turn you guys loose. Everybody gets a little bit of this because every tank I have has shrimp and little babies, and these guys will take some. We'll even put a little bit in here. I know I was gonna wait a little bit, but we'll put just a little dab or do ya. Come on, come on, come on. Come on. There we go. That was just a tiny little bit. Just that little cloud. And these guys too, because there's babies in here. There we go. Yeah, so you just have that little bit, it's almost like brine shrimp. I bet you these guys are going nuts for it. Zenzo doesn't have this food yet, so these fish have literally never seen it, never seen my fish room before. They've been in the fish tank for about, what, 15 minutes? Yep, look at that, he's eating it. He likes it. He likes it. Hey, Mike, he likes it. So yeah, fish have never seen it before. Not that African cichlids are picky to feed. That's a fair call out to the people watching this going, yeah, they'll eat anything. But yeah, doing what I need to do. It's a little bit small for African cichlids, especially as they grow, but good little first snack. And make sure everybody gets one, you know, a few little morsels. They'll definitely get something more substantial as the days come. But they can't have too much protein, so they can't eat like freeze-dried bloodworms. I'll feed them pellets and stuff like nano krill and extreme flakes and all of that. But yeah, you see how it settles on the leaves there? That's perfect for shrimp and babies and everything that would hide out in this plant is perfect for them. It's also perfect for mid-water. So I know you guys are probably chomping at the bit to get it. I get it. We got to get product packaging. We got to get it done. I'm convinced in testing. I need to get a couple other people testing it just to make sure I'm not crazy, but I love it. Look at that, even shrimp coming in for the freeze-dried tube effects. Yeah, well, these guys ripped it off. That happens too when you get fish that are big enough, they'll rip off the worms and then they go up top somewhere unless they finished them all. But, all right, thanks for hanging out, guys. And I'm excited to see you guys grow. Eat, my little minions, eat.